I'm Lee Spencer with the Racing Boys, and I've caught up with Texas Motor Speedway President Eddie Gossage. Hard to believe that it's been over 2 decades since we first took that shovel and pumped it into the Lone Star Earth.
Yeah, it seems like another lifetime ago, and then it seems like yesterday. So it all kind of runs together. But we're finishing up our 23rd season here, which is pretty amazing to me. And been a lot of great moments, and been some tough moments, which is just part of it. And we're just doing our thing and proud of our role in American motorsports.
When you built this place, it was like no other, and a lot of people kind of took a page out of your book and developed tracks along those lines. We've seen a lot change since then with getting the fans more into it. But when it comes to track promotion, you've really set the standard. Why are we not seeing that as much from other track promoters in today's day and age as we had in years past?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. It works, I can tell you that, because I saw the ticket report Monday, the day after Martinsville, and the Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, brouhaha, and all the stuff that I say all the stuff. We did one one social media post is all we did, and everybody's going on about look at how they're promoting the race, and it was one social media post, but it was good and it went viral, and so I enjoy the creative stuff. You got to do the details, and the details are very detailed at running a racetrack, but it's the big creative stuff that I have fun with. So when we get to do those things, I just like to do it because it entertains me. But I also know, like I said, that I saw the ticket report on Monday. I know what sells, and it works, and so we just have fun doing it. So I don't know why others, don't. I'm sure they think many of the same kind of things. They just don't pull the trigger on it. So I don't know.
A lot of companies have canned the veteran track presidents in favor of younger guys, maybe younger presidents that they can manipulate, or maybe they're looking just to go in a different direction. But you've set the standard and have stayed the course, and this is still one of the most popular tracks that the teams go to every year.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some guys that have been doing it longer than I have been. Ed Clark in Atlanta, but he's announced he's going to wrap it up there, and Clay Campbell, who's been doing it his entire life at Martinsville. It was a family-owned business that NASCAR bought out, 10 or 15 years ago, but Clay continues to run the track there and does a great job. So I just the difference between my role here and the other tracks is that I'm a parent of this place. I had a hand from it started out on my kitchen table, and literally was the only employee, and built it from nothing to where it is, where it was when we opened, that kind of thing. So there's a difference there, in that I feel like I truly have ownership of it, not just because I've worked here for 20-something years, but I helped create it. Obviously, Bruton Smith and Marcus Smith, it's their racetrack, and I just work for them. But I think it may be a little different. So I've had lots of opportunities in and out of motorsports over the 23 years to go do other things, but seldom do you get to create something like this from scratch. And I know when I die, that's going to be what they say is the guy that started Texas Motor Speedway and all that kind of stuff. So it's, maybe that's why I'm still here and others have moved on. I don't know.
How has the game changed most dramatically since you started under Humpy Wheeler at Charlotte Motor Speedway a long time ago?
Well, I actually go back a lot further than I started in Charlotte Motor Speedway in '89, but I started at Nashville Speedway in 1980. Back when it had 2 cup races and ran every Saturday night, plus the folks that I worked for there owned Bristol. So and in '81, I went to Bristol and ran it for 3 seasons. And I can tell you at Bristol, we didn't have enough money to turn the air conditioner on in the summer in the office. The staff was 3 people. It was me, a secretary who sold the tickets, and a maintenance guy who cut the grass. And that was the entire Speedway staff. And so, it's changed. We've got a 9-story building in Turn 1. Speedway club with spa, you know, you get a mani-pedi and whatever else. You can work out with, you know, trainers and things like that. We've got a restaurant. We've got meeting space. It's a long, long, long light years away from where we were back in 80, 81 when, you know, I was working for $9,000 a year, you know. So the sport, like everything, just constantly changes. And, you know, we're in another transition. I think I'm seeing momentum pick up for our sport again. We went through just an amazing boom in the 90s, just stunning. And I think we're beginning to pick up the momentum again. Good things happen daily in our sport. And, you know, unfortunately, it's odd because in many ways we got the greatest fans in the world, but we also got some of the strangest fans in the world, and they complain about everything. Just enjoy the racing. The racing's fun. And if you don't enjoy the racing, don't pay any attention to it. Go do something else. But I think the racing's really good, and I think we got a good product, and I think we got good drivers. Fans are beginning to identify with these new guys that are coming up, and I think we're in a good place.
When we had breakfast in your boardroom this morning, Marcus made it seem like there was a lot of open door interaction between, I guess, SMI as a whole and the France family, or at least Jim France. You seem to talk to Mike Helton a lot, have the pulse of what's going on. He's still heavily involved behind the scenes. What do you think is the next big step that we're going to have to find to ride this wave of momentum that we've seen picked up this year?
Well, I can tell you Marcus has a great relationship with Lisa France and Jim France, as well as Mike Helton and everybody there, Steve Phelps, etc. Mike Helton and I knew each other before he was in racing. I helped him get his first job in racing. So, you know, we go way back, and we have conversations, and always have, that I think people will be surprised to hear us talking with each other, you know, because we're just old friends. You know, I think we're in a period of transition, and both, you know, the International Speedway Corporation was taken back as a private company. Now it's part of NASCAR. The Smith family took Speedway Motorsports back to a private company, and I think, you know, we're in a place where you're going to see some real change. Now, what is that change going to look like? I don't know. I think the schedule is a place everybody looks towards. The thing is if you sit down and said, okay, I'm going to make the perfect schedule, because I've tried, and it looks very much like the current schedule. There's not racetracks to go to. People talk about, you know, we ought to be going to other racetracks. Okay, what other racetracks? You know, there's a standard of a certain level in so many different areas that you have to be to have a cup race. And, you know, all those tracks that are at that level are having cup races. So the other tracks that people refer to, they're just not ready for that. They're not capable of doing it. They're not professional enough. They're not, they just don't have the staff. They can't justify the things that you have to do to be a cup track. So where are you going to go? I think you wind up really where you're at right now. So, I mean, maybe the order changes or something like that. But, so I don't know. I do know that Jim France is a very smart guy. He's got the support of the entire industry. I think we all are pulling the rope together, and I think it will evolve and change in time, and we're all going to be a big part of that, and that's the way it ought to be.
You really keep your finger on the pulse of what the race fans want. When you hear from fan feedback and the like, what are like the top 5 things? I know Humpy always said bathrooms, clean bathrooms, and you know, but beyond having a place to do that and get a cold beer, what are the amenities that attract fans most to a weekend like Texas?
Well, I think we've got, well, you know, we're in a good place. We've got the best amenity you could possibly have with the biggest television in the world. That's a tremendous fan amenity that I find myself, when I go to other tracks, I'm looking for the big screen and it's not there unless you're in Charlotte, you know. But it's like going to a football game. I go to Cowboys games. They've got a big screen. I mean, you know, a mega screen like, you know, similar to what we have. And when I go to other football games, I miss the big screen. So that amenity to me is so critical. But what we are finding that's different today than when we built Texas and opened in '97 is that they want common areas where they can hang out, where they can talk with friends or make new friends that like racing and eat and drink and that kind of thing. Maybe have some craft beers, have some interesting food, not just your traditional fare of hamburgers, hot dogs, and so forth. And so we've got some ideas about some things like that. It's time to modernize Texas Motor Speedway, and we're working on that. And once we figure out exactly what we want to do, we're going to pull the trigger and modernize the facility, because it really is essentially the same since we opened. We've done a couple of things, the Busch Restart Bar and the Turn 1 Terrace, which are these common areas where people can hang out and have something to eat and drink and talk and have seats different than just grandstand seats. Now, understand people do still like grandstand seats, but you need to have a variety. But those two things, the Busch Restart Bar and the Turn 1 Terrace, were kind of tests, and we want to see how they went. They both have done incredibly well. So, and there's other things. We've got to have places where you can recharge your devices. Right now, you can't do that anywhere on the concourse. So we got to have that. Obviously, you got to have good Wi-Fi. So just a variety of things that you didn't have to have in 1997 that you must have, and if you want to succeed in 2019. And we're going to modernize the place so that we have those things.
As someone who went to school in the Lone Star State and lived here for quite a while and went to many a sporting event, I also know they like valet parking too. Because let's face it, Texans like to be spoiled. And even when they're, part of their entertainment, they want to feel special. They want to feel spoiled. It's kind of hard to do when you have, 100,000 plus fans come in a day. How do you put your fan at the centerpiece of it all?
Well, you're right about Texans. They're different than anybody else. And whether they have a lot of money or not, they're going to drive their pickup truck or their Bentley, because even if they don't have money, they may have a Bentley. And if they have money, they may have an old beat-up pickup truck. They do require valet parking, and we've had valet parking since we opened the doors here, so we've always had that. They're probably going to arrive a little bit late and go to their seat, and then they're probably going to leave a little bit early just in case you didn't see them when they got there going to their seat, so you'll see them as they're leaving. Those are things we know about Texans. You just try to do everything you can to be able to offer everything from, a seat for $30, $25, $20, whatever, on up to whatever. We've always found that here in Texas, the things that sell the quickest are the very expensive high-end stuff and the very inexpensive, budget stuff. It's the middle range that's tougher to sell than anything. And so, we just try to offer amenities at all levels. And, it's like, do you want to stay in a motel or do you want to stay in a hotel? Do you want to stay in a really nice 5-star hotel? You're going to pay more for more. You're going to pay less for less. And that's what we try to offer, is all kinds of services. Now, if you want a condominium with access to the roof and things like that, we got $1 million condo we'll sell you. But we also have a 1-bedroom condo we'll sell you too. So, you got to have a variety, and that's what Texans like. And we've had just tremendous success with that. Our condos, I speak about them. We have 76 in Turn 2, and we sold them all, 20 years ago. So, Dallas Cowboys don't have people living in the stadium. We do. Just an example. We have a private club that's like a country club hanging out over turn number 1. Cowboys don't have that in their stadium. We do. So, I ask you, who's got the fanciest? We got, you ask people who's got the biggest television in the world, and I bet a lot of them will tell you the Dallas Cowboys. And I got to tell you the truth. This TV here, Big Hoss, is almost exactly twice as big as the one at Cowboy Stadium. So I always joke because it ticks Jerry off when I say it, but that screen they got's nice. We got one just like it. It's in our break room. So, we the only reason we compare ourselves to the Cowboys is they're the standard of what's good, what's done well, et cetera, and that's the only reason. Not that I dislike the Cowboys at all. Just if you say you've got something, in this case, a big screen twice as big as the Cowboys, that's big.
Well, things are always bigger in Texas, and you were talking about variety, and got to give you props because you put together a pretty damn fine dirt track too. And I give a lot of credit to you, Las Vegas and Charlotte, all for having these fabulous dirt tracks because I think what we're seeing is that at least you and I mean, we're huge race fans. It doesn't care if it's IndyCar, which you also serve, trucks, Xfinity, you have it all here. But how have you seen dirt racing grow, in the advent of putting in a dirt track here on the premises?
Well, I'm a race fan, and I like it. Racing. I don't care if it's dirt or pavement, if it's short track, super speedway, road course. I don't care. I just want to see racing. So, the dirt track here in Texas, and I think I'm right in saying this. We have more Saturday night tracks, whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, weekly race tracks than any state in the union. Now, of course, we're bigger than pretty much everybody, so that would stand to reason. But there's more racetracks in the state of Texas than any state, and they're all dirt except for one. Well, two counting us, the big oval here. But I think there's only one paved, short track oval in the state. Everything else is dirt. Dirt modifieds and limited modifieds are very affordable. The rules are fairly consistent, so you can race at any number of dirt tracks, and so a lot of people have them. And so we run the modifieds with pretty much everything that we run. For instance, the sprint car races we're running this weekend, there's limited modified stuff going along hand in hand with it. And so, we just think it's a way to be in touch with the grassroots. Short tracks, they create drivers, they create mechanics, but most of all, they create fans. And so you want to give them a reason to come here and hopefully be a fan, and that means that they'll buy tickets to see, the Cup Series or the Xfinity, trucks, IndyCar, whatever it is. I started out as a fan of the short track just like everybody else. I went to Nashville Speedway, where I'm from, Nashville, Tennessee. Went to the fairgrounds on a Saturday night, paid $1 to get in, and couldn't believe my eyes. And here I am, all these years later, and this has been a good profession for me. And so that's how you make fans is Saturday night short tracks.
Well, I appreciate it. I think you've had a great run here at Texas Motor Speedway, and I wish you all kinds of luck going forward, Eddie. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Lee.